everybody. How are you? My name is Bill Vitiello. I am the Director of Institutional Relationships and Marketing for the Victory Bank in Limerick. Welcome to this episode of Chamber Chat Live with the TriCounty Area Chamber of Commerce. As you can see, I didn't even try dancing to this because I have a feeling I might get critiqued by my next guest. But it's very fitting because, that could be a music piece that you use. Dance can be any kind of expression to any kind of music. So without further ado, let us bring our next guest in. She is from the Pottstown Dance Theater. Please, everybody, welcome Michelle Jones-Wurtz. Michelle, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Were you going to put up a card if I did try to dance? Were you going to give me rate me like 1 to 10?
I would have given you a 10.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind. Well, thank you for joining this episode of Chamber Chat. Greatly appreciate you being on here. Incredibly curious about the Pottstown Dance and Theater. And so let's start by introducing yourself first.
Okay, I'm Michelle Jones-Wurtz, and I'm the owner and director of the Pottstown Dance Theater. I became the director in 2001, and it was founded in 1964 by Phyllis Dersh-Ruzides, and she was a graduate of the Philadelphia Dance Academy, which is now the School of Dance at the University of the Arts, which is where I graduated from. And we met at a seminar for ballet instructors, and she hired me to teach mostly the modern dance at the time. And then when she was ready to retire 5 years later, she asked me to take over. So I've been the director for 20 years now.
Okay. And how long have you been dancing?
I've been dancing since I was almost 7, and I will be 53 in a few weeks. So that'll tell you a long time.
Yeah, good for you though. I'm sure you and so what type of am I asking the right question here? What type of disciplines do you dance in? Did I answer
Yes.
that? Did I answer that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did. I have my degree is in modern dance, but my minor was ballet, and I study a lot of jazz. I study a lot of African dance. I always enjoyed tap because it's just so fun. And, I do hip hop. I have a breakdance teacher here. I kind of am in the mindset that there's two kinds of dance, good and bad. So I'm not one of those people that say you can only do one kind of dance and then that's what you have to focus on. I think everybody should learn how to dance every style.
Yeah, that's cool. Mine would be a bad dance, but that's besides the point. So are you guys on Instagram Reels? Am I finding you on there shuffling or doing some sort of plie or?
Yes, we have from time to time, we have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and our host is really good about keeping it updated with what we're doing lately. We have a new breakdance teacher who has actually a doctorate in dance. And he also teaches at the Boyer College at Temple University. So he comes up once a week, and he's been working on some brand new moves with our breakers, which I think they're really enjoying. So we have a good time. And
That's cool.
I also teach in college as well at Eastern University. I teach 3 different courses there. So I
Okay.
dance all day.
Nice. Breakdancing, that's going back to my generation now.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sure some people would die to see that happen, but I was the kid with the boom box and the cardboard on my driveway,
Cool.
spinning and hands, head spins and all that other stuff. Wow, that's a long time ago. But
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is the kids that do it, they love to do it to that music from that era. So
mhm.
So I come in singing all the songs, and they wonder how I know all of these songs. It's
Right,
funny. I'm
right.
like, because I was in 9th grade.
Yeah, look at LL Breakdancing Bill. Yeah, I'm telling you, Drew, I could still do some of those moves, believe it or not. I can't. Well, that's another story for another time. But anyway, but I did wanted to kind of tie that into my experience when I was younger to what somebody might experience and why they use dance. I always have been somewhat of a creative person and just enjoyed being around the arts and music, and this dance thing was kind of one of it when I was growing up. Can you can you tell or can you explain why dancers might gravitate towards a certain discipline or use dancing to express themselves?
Yes, well, my since my degree is in modern dance, one of the techniques that I've studied is the technique of Martha Graham, and her technique is very dramatic. And I find that dancers who like that tend to like a lot of discipline, and they also like to like that's their way of getting out any of the things that have upset them during the day, and it's a great way to do it. And then I find some people that they prefer more like funky stuff, and that's mainly because they are just have a bigger personality to begin with often. So they usually gravitate towards the breaking, towards the hip hop, towards the tap. And then I find that a lot of the dancers here, they really like ballet because they seem like that's their discipline, the way some kids like karate. They love the fact that it's so regimented. So it's really clear in a few years what they're going to like gravitate to. But pretty much all of my dancers try a lot of different kinds. I encourage that so that they can definitely find their niche. So
Sure. How many dancers do you have?
we have about 100 students, about 70 families, so it's a lot of siblings.
Wow.
And we went to the Olympics in 2012 to London, and we took 53. So we had 22 dancers. The rest were like, siblings and parents. And we are scheduled to go to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France. So we're looking for new dancers for that. We have about 5 or 6 signed up so far. So, COVID kind of made everything tough, as it did for everybody. So for a while we were dancing on Zoom. And, I sent home notices that just said, try to make a ballet bar, even if you have to make it out of a couple chairs, and find a little space and we'll make it work. And we did. We didn't really take more than 2 weeks off. We found a way.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I think Drew indicated he wanted to sign up for the 2024 Olympics.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like a starter band.
Yeah, nice. So what will you guys dance in the opening ceremonies, or how does that work typically?
What they do is they bring us in, and they put different student schools, usually from the States, to like kind of entertain the crowds before the events start. That's why I said kind of like a starter band. So last time when we were at the 2012 Olympics, it was for the equestrian. So before the horses came out, they had a stage set up for us, and we did a thing called the evolution of dance, and that way everyone could do their niche. So I had it started African dance. We went through time all the way up through ballet and modern and Irish dancing, and how it developed into tap. And then we ended with a big finale of kind of like techno music, of everybody kind of doing their moment.
That's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It was very cool.
I like that. That Irish dancing is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
For sure, right?
Yeah, it is.
Michael Flatley stuff and all that.
Yep.
So you have some events that are coming up. I want to make sure you get a chance to mention those before time goes on. So what are some of the events you have coming on the calendar here? I know Drew briefed, and I'm looking at your website, by the way. I'm not ignoring you or the audience.
Okay.
You have some events that are coming up, and I want to make sure you mention those. So go ahead.
We are doing the Nutcracker at Boyertown Area High School this year on December 7th. I'm sorry, December 11th at 7. That's why I had 7 on my mind. And December 12th at 2 p.m. And it is full production. Last year we had to do kind of Christmas around the world. We used some of the moments from the second act where it's different countries. And we had that as a digital show, a virtual show. But this year we're so glad to be back in a theater. We're very, very excited. And then in March, we are going to the Philadelphia Youth Dance Festival and performing at least one piece, maybe 2. And then we will do a fall festival next October, which this year we were working on Michael Jackson's Thriller, and we did that a few different places. So we're going to try to do some new Halloween themed pieces this year.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, Thriller's a great dance. Again, going back to my era.
Yep, and same thing. Kids love it.
Yeah, we all gathered around the TV to watch that premiere. Believe me.
Yep.
Crazy. I want you to talk a little bit about, so if I'm somebody who wants to maybe start dancing, or I'm the parent of a student, or have a son or a daughter who wants to start dancing, what are the next steps, and what kind of conversations do you have about that?
Normally, first I start with their age, and then find out if they've had any dance experience. And then if it's been a long time, we kind of treat them like a beginner, figuring their muscles are not where they were when they had taken the time off. So especially for ballet, you use some muscles that are really not used for anything else much. And then we try to find a class that's that's suitable, but we let you take a trial lesson on us, and that way the teacher can evaluate you. And usually within one class, we can figure out, what would be the best fit for you. Most of the adults, if they're starting out as beginners, a lot of them try to take our African dance class because it's intergenerational. And that way they can be with younger people, but we don't give them anything that's going to be harmful on their different kind of joints at that age. We have a dancer who's 89 who still comes every week, and she started when she was 72. So
It's awesome.
yeah, she's great too. She came with us to Lincoln Center. We performed at Lincoln Center, and we also performed at Carnegie Hall, and she had little cameo moments. So the Lincoln Center one was when she turned 81, and she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, who else can say on their 81st birthday they danced on Lincoln Center? You should come. So she did.
Yeah,
great
good for her. That's awesome.
Yep. Yep. And our youngest in our ensemble are 7. But the youngest students we take are 3. So between 3 and 6, they mainly do just our end of year demo, which is like a recital, but we try to only spend about 6 weeks on it. Okay. And then at 7, if they want to do more like what we're doing with the Nutcracker and like bigger shows like that, they're welcome to try.
So I was also looking on your website too, learn, grow, and shine with the Pottstown Dance Theater. And I think that's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about, you have some of these broken out into categories here. You have lifelong learning, growth you can see, world-class opportunities. So describe a little bit of those, please, if you don't mind.
Sure. So we always have we do 10-week sessions. At the end of each 10 weeks, we invite the parents to observe. Because of COVID, it's been via Zoom, but before that, we used to let them come in, and that way they could see that, for the last 10 weeks, what we've been working on, and the teachers will explain to them where we are in the process. So if, it may look like this is kind of redundant. They'll say that we've been doing this over and over, but we're still trying to get their hamstrings more flexible, or we're trying to strengthen the abdominals more. And that way the parents are understanding. And, and I even tell them, even if this is not going to be anything that they use later, if they like basketball, they're going to be better basketball players. They're going to be better football players, because they're going to have a stronger core. They're going to be less likely to get injured because they're going to have more flexible hamstrings. And then, like I said, we do like shows in New York City. We go out of the country. We've performed at the International Festival in Poland. We're supposed to go to Greece this summer to a dance festival there. So rather than being on like a competition circuit, what a lot of schools do, instead we try to focus on things that are just going to be like something you'll remember your whole life.
So you have also in here lasting friendships. I'm sure many become friends for life.
Yeah, they're in each other's weddings. Some of them become teachers for me after they've grown up with me. Like I have one teacher here. She started with me when she was 7, and then she went to college, and now she's got a doctorate in physical therapy and specializes on dancers. And she still teaches for me. And, she tells me about so-and-so's getting married, and I'm going to the wedding, and she says to say hi. They stay friends forever.
That's great. I like it. So I know you're an instructor, and the person you just mentioned is an instructor.
Yes.
How many other instructors do you have?
We have about 11. We have some student apprentice teachers. We have a tap teacher. She specializes in tap, but she's done other styles of dance as well. Her name's Carol Hebert, and she's a member of Tap Ties, which is a really good like hoofing dance company of tap dancers. And then we have her name's Miss Kelsey. She's the PT. And we have Miss Diane, who's been here since even before me. She's our long-term ballet teacher. She specializes on teaching the fundamental years of the ballet program, which, are really difficult to teach because they have no foundation. So she's in charge of putting that foundation into them. And then we have Miss Emma, who's an apprentice teacher. She's a junior at Boyertown High School. And we have an apprentice teacher for Irish, who's a junior at Daniel Boone. And then we have Dr. Moose, we call him, as his breaking name is Moose. His name's David. And nice. He comes all the way from North Philly to teach. So he's the one that teaches also at Temple. So we have quite a faculty.
Nice. And where are you guys located?
We are located about 5 minutes from Coventry Mall. We are actually in Coventry Township by a block. It's West Main Street. It's 1 block from River Road. So it's if you came from the mall and you went down around the back end, around River Road, and then you look over to the right, you'll see a big brick schoolhouse, and that's us. It used to be South Pottstown Elementary School.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. So the folks in the community will hopefully know where that is.
Yep. We
So
even
it,
have a old bulletin board up underneath. There was graffiti from when it was still a little kid's elementary school.
oh, nice, nice. So I know they can visit the website, but if you wouldn't mind sharing your contact information or where they can contact you if they're interested in getting more details or even just talking with you a little bit further about, hey, is this something for my child? Or maybe it's the child themselves calling saying, hey, I'm interested in getting involved.
Okay, our phone number is 610-323-2569. And our email address is Pottstown Dance Theater, and that's spelled with an R-E, so the European theater, at yahoo.com.
All right. And we will put that in the show notes as well. So,
Great.
Michelle, what else would you like to chat about before we go today?
Um, I don't know. Maybe just about our Nutcracker. I can tell
Yeah,
you that
go
it's
ahead.
phenomenal. We have some beautiful backdrops, and we have a brand new Christmas tree that grows on its own. You press a button and it goes from 12 feet to 24 feet. So it's going to look
Wow.
really cool on the stage. And we have some really great special effects during the snow scene. So besides the dancing, I think you'll just be impressed with the production itself. And um, one other cool thing about the Nutcracker, I know a lot of people are not ballet connoisseurs. The Nutcracker is such a family holiday tradition. It's like going to pick your Christmas tree or, like picking out, going to sit on Santa's lap. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
something that the family can do for the holidays. So I really always encourage people to do that. I'm like, you don't have to be a dance lover. And even if you don't like ballet, because the second act is like different country dances, there's a Spanish dance, there's a Russian dance, there's a Chinese dance. There's probably something that you're going to like, even if you're not a real fan of ballet. Yeah, there's a nice picture from back. There's the Spanish tutu, and then there's that's Waltz of the Flowers dancers in the background there. There's an Arabian
Nice.
dance. So, and I studied a little bit of like these different styles in my travels around the world so I could make them pretty authentic as much as possible. So the like Arabian dance has some belly dance moves. The Russian dance has some real moves from a dance called Shardish.
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love it. And you know what else I like about this, non-dance related, is the fact that it's like well before the holidays.
Yes,
It's the 11th and 12th, so you're not like jamming it in the week of Christmas when everybody's got everything else going on.
it's
Um,
true.
this is something hopefully folks can make, and they're at reasonable hours too. So, 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, you can go grab dinner afterwards in Boyertown or a drink in Boyertown.
Yep, and it's
Yep.
only each act is only 30 minutes because we've edited it to the music a little bit so that for children who don't want to sit still for 2 hours, it's a half an hour and then there's an intermission and then another half hour, and the whole ballet and the whole story is told in that time frame, and it's really most people really love it.
That's great. Michelle, thank you so much for being on today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. And again, folks, I would encourage you to go onto the website. I'm pointing over there because the website's on my computer. Please go to the Pottstown Dance Theater website and get tickets for the Nutcracker coming up on December 11th and 12th. So, Michelle, once again, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Everybody, that'll do it for this episode of Chamber Chat here with the Tri-County Area Chamber of Commerce. Once again, my name is Bill Vitiello. I'm the Director of Institutional Relationships and Marketing for the Victory Bank in Limerick. And until we connect again, all my best. Bye for now.